It's the Dep Lewis Show. The Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. The Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. The Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. Welcome to the Dep Lewis Show, episode 181. This is your host, Dep Lewis, and today is Sunday, May 24th, 2026. A great day for a podcast about video games and more. I hope you're doing great out there in the world, wherever and whenever you're listening to this. Thank you for being here. The first order of business is to ask you to follow Dep Lewis Show everywhere. Full episodes of Dep Lewis Show available anywhere you can find a podcast. So find the best place to subscribe and listen weekly. Places like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, YouTube, Amazon Music, and more. YouTube is also a great place to watch me play some games live or check out the videos later. And if you would like to support the show even further than just listening, patreon.com/Dep Lewis Show is available if you'd like to subscribe monthly. Also, Venmo at Dep Lewis Show is available any day, anytime, for any amount if you would like to support the show. And today's show, we'll have three sections as always. The first section, I'll tell you about what video games I've been playing since I've last talked to you on this microphone. And there is one predominant one star of the show for the first section, so I'm excited to talk about that. The mid section of the show, which is not mid in quality, it's the middle of the show. That's where I tell you about everything going on around the video game world that you need to know. And the third and final section is a break from all the video game talk. That's the Miscellaneous talk section, where I can talk about anything I want to outside of the video game world. And I typically like to get into the worldwide world of sports and tell you what's going on with all my favorite teams, and that would be the case today. So I'm recording this on Sunday. It's around 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and the Atlanta Braves are about to play a little after 4 today. So I really did have some more time today to get the podcast out, and it looks like I'm actually going to get it out in a comfortable manner before the Braves game starts. So I'm happy about that. They're playing the Nationals today to close out the series, and I'll get into some more baseball talk at the end of the show. But the main reason I'm here, and I guess probably the main reason you're here, is for all the video game talk. So let's get into what's going on. So what have I been playing since last week? I've been playing a brand new release. This is a potential candidate for a Game of the Year for 2026 based on hype alone. And I've played, I think it's almost 14 hours of this game. I don't know if the counter is correct, but I've probably been playing a couple hours each day since this game came out. And I got to say, I think it's exceeding expectations. I am very thankful to be playing this, and that is Forza Horizon 6. So this game arrived last week officially. A lot of people were playing it the week prior for the limited edition version or review copies, but the standard edition released last week, and it's living up to all the hype. So I'm playing this on the Xbox Series S, so I do have that perspective from it, and I really have zero complaints on how it's running. I've been playing Forza Motorsport, the one from 2023 on there. That game looks amazing, and this looks just as great. Forza always looks great. It's always a great example of what graphics can look like on a system. And, not only does it look great, it runs great, the frame rate's all good and all that kind of stuff. The racing feels amazing. The control you have over the car feels amazing. And I've just been having so much fun with this game so far. So like I said, I've been playing the previous release, Forza Motorsport, in the past few weeks, kind of getting ready for this, and I've been used to that type of racing. So immediately upon entering Forza Horizon 6, you do immediately realize that this game is just more, I don't know if you want to call it fun, because I have tons of fun with Forza Motorsport, but I guess maybe just like the overall vibe of the game is more fun and just more going on. I guess I've been thinking of it myself as, Forza Motorsport is just like the traditional track racing, like you're at some type of Grand Prix race or some high level race, and then the Forza Horizon thing really is like a Horizon festival. It's a party, so obviously it is going to be a little more of a lighthearted thing. So coming off playing some more Forza Motorsport, I do notice that I don't know if the controls feel I guess maybe a little bit more arcadey in like the best way kind of possible. So even the controls, I feel like the most simple basic thing from Forza, I think, just on the Horizon side of the house, it does just feel a bit more arcadey, just in the slightest tinge, like the slightest little bit, and it's really enjoyable. And I kind of noticed it immediately off playing Forza Motorsport. So you get in there, And I think you notice that immediately if you've been playing motorsport, and then I noticed the difference in the terrain that you're driving over. So that's a big change from Forza Motorsport, where you're just basically racing over racetrack or like city streets or whatever it may be. But in this, you can drive through the wilderness, through a forest. You can break anything in the world that you're able to crash through, I guess, or anything that's not like a structure. And the only thing you cannot take down nature-wise are the cherry blossoms, because those are so beloved by Japanese people and their culture. So you are not allowed to take down the cherry trees, and you have to show them a lot of respect in this game. So that's one interesting tidbit there. But let's think. What have I? So the setting of Forza Horizon 6 is in Japan. I think that's I think they have brought out the cheat code on the setting for this game. I don't know. I mean, I'm still early, but I think they've really put together everything from this franchise into this one game in like a really, really kind of immaculate way. And I don't know. I think the settings, it's probably just a little bit of hype from playing it in the first week, but the setting is so cool. It's so diverse of how much stuff is going on, and like picturesque and beautiful, and just things, and just a really, really nice backdrop for the really precise like driving that you're doing in this game. So I think it's just it has kind of everything you would want in a racing game. So I'm extremely high on this game so far. The game looks beautiful. My favorite car so far is a Porsche 911 Turbo S from 2023 that I purchased, and that's been the main one I've been riding around the world in, the main one I've been favoring for the open world. So another big difference from this game as opposed to motorsport is the open world area. But one thing I have been enjoying, I do enjoy the open world because there's a lot to do around the open world, the icons that are different races and things, but there's also different mascots to bowl over. So there's just different little different like collectible type things. So the mascots are just these things you want to knock over. They're on the side of the road. They might be behind a fence, and then there's just straight up experience, like little billboard kind of things that you can go around and hit. So there is infinite or kind of things that you can be doing in this game, and they're all super, super enjoyable. So if you just want to ride around and hit mascots, you can. If you just want to ride around and get speed challenges on different roads, you can. If you want to drive to the races, you can. But then one feature, one thing I think they do a good job of in this game, which is something I enjoy from Forza Motorsport, is the great menus in this game. So there is on the menu, you can go to like I think there's an area just right when you click start. It says like what's next, and it gives you some recommended things that you can go do in the world. And I've been kind of using that like an event list from Forza Motorsport when I really just want to get down to business and complete some races that are working towards. What are they giving you? Wristbands in this thing, so you're earning different tiered wristbands from the Horizon Festival, and as you are progressing, you're getting more things unlocked on the map based on your ranking. So I think I'm at 4 out of 7 already. I think I just unlocked the pink wristband. It was after blue, so I think that is the 4th one, and I think there's 7 of them total, but I'm not sure. And then there is, there's definitely a lot to say. So there's like 2 halves to the open world. There's definitely like the wristband thing I'm talking about, which is where you got to complete a series of races, and there's like one big epic finish to each section of the wristbands, which is really cool. I'm going to talk about that in a second. And then the other side it's like exploring Japan, or it's like a scenic tour. I'm trying to see if I wrote down what it was called, but it's called like a day trip mission. So it's basically the first one I did. I think there's a whole bunch of these, and I only did the first one this morning actually, but it was they give you a supercar to drive in. You're with like 6 other people from the Horizon Festival, I guess, and you're just driving along some predetermined really, really scenic route through Japan, and they are telling you some stuff about it. There's some just straight up talking between the friends and things like that, and it kind of gives you the experience of really just sightseeing a little bit while driving a supercar, and just really nailing it. And it's nothing, it's like the perfect amount of information and talking and time and just seeing what was going on. So I'd be real excited to do those, and I definitely felt like relaxed while doing that, as opposed to doing the races, which can be really, really tough in this game. And so I've been enjoying that. There's 2 sides kind of to the open world, and you can also kind of treat the open world if you want to make it like an events list, like Forza Motorsport, which I do enjoy that from that game. You're able to do so. So I mean, this game, if you had to pick one between Motorsport and Horizon, I think you would have to pick Horizon. just because it does so much, and it does so much of everything that I think if you had to pick one, it's better overall. But I definitely am a huge fan of Forza Motorsport in general, and that's something I guess over time maybe I'll go back and forth on which my favorite is. But these games are just really, really impressive of having the fundamentals of Forza Motorsport with the extra layers on top that are just really, really fun, and I think draw in a bigger crowd, and it's possibly just more fun in general. So Forza Horizon 6, extremely fun. So there's different tiers to the wristbands that you get, and you progress through the story kind of thing, and each tier has a different like finish race or whatever. And the one that you've probably seen, I don't know if I want to spoil anything about this. There's one that's really cool. I don't know. I guess if you really don't want to hear this, I'll just spoil this one little bit thing in a way. But so just fast forward 30 seconds. But the Gundam race, well, that's all I'll say about that. Is extremely fun, extremely impressive. One of the cooler looking sequences and things in video games is up there with Uncharted 2 of just really, really cool set pieces, and it's all based upon the extremely fun driving in this game. So that is the incredible part about it. You still have the bare bones of the incredible driving, but they are putting on a show around you in this game, and it's just really, really, really impressive. So that is been one of the most striking things, and I think everyone who's kind of played this game has definitely been talking about that one particular section, and you will, after you see it, you'll know it kind of thing. And if you want to go check it out, just go look for some footage online of this game. It's extremely fun, and those always live up to the hype in these games. The opening one, which I guess is not as much of a spoiler because it's the opening one, but you're racing a bullet train as you go, and just really, really fun too. And the one I mentioned that I'm really a big fan of, it's early in the game. I think it might be the second or third one you do, so I'm interested to see what else they got in store for me with that stuff. There's also like a house or a home base mechanic in this game, which I don't know if I've ever, I don't know how useful I think it is, but I do think it's nice to have a home base. This one seems to have more customizable options, and there's different houses around the area. There's a house like in the middle of Tokyo that's $3 million. There is the house that I was able to purchase, which was like it was like somebody's old, like grandfather's old abandoned land. So that's like the first one they give to you because it's affordable and seems perfectly fine to me. And I like that it's a little bit out of the ways in the woods. It's kind of fun to drive to. And then there's different ways you can customize your garage, which I haven't really messed with besides just putting a car like in the garage to check out. And it just kind of acts as when you start up the game, it's going to start you at your house. But there are fast travel points all over. It kind of gives you every single option you would want in this game. But, most of the time I'm hoofing it, I'm driving around, I'm collecting some things along the way and taking to the open world. But I do generally kind of like pick one thing that I'm doing. I'm like, hey, I'm going to go for the experience boards right now. Hey, I'm going to go for the mascots, or no, I'm going to try to push forward on some of these events. So I've been having a little bit of purpose in the open world, but you could really, really just drive around and be completing some stuff and having some fun. So what else do I want to say about this? The collectible stuff is fun. The plenty of stuff to do around the map that you can just put a waypoint on and go to. Or you can go to like the what's next feature in the menu, and they'll recommend something that you can do as well, which is nice. The Japan setting, scenery, and vibes are immaculate. I don't know if they're going to really be able to, I don't know. I'm playing this game for 1 week, but this one's going to be getting up there in best racing games of all time conversation, I think. So just based on the progression they've been making these games of how good they are. Forza Horizon 5 was set in Mexico and definitely had more. These two have like really, really distinct feels. The things I remember from Forza Horizon 5 were almost like jungle-like scenarios of like really dense, like kind of like grassland areas or whatever it may be. Or I guess, yeah, felt like almost like jungle or whatever, but a lot of rain and things like that. And then compared with like, the modern stuff of Tokyo, and then along with the countryside that you're kind of driving around and the mountains in the background, it's like really, like I think I said before, striking of driving around this game in Japan, and really, really, really cool. So thankful to be playing some Forza Horizon 6, and you will probably hear me talking about this game for the foreseeable future. So like I said, my favorite car is the Porsche 911 Turbo S. I've been making my cars yellow in this game so far. I don't know why. That's just something I've decided on, but I have a Corvette that's yellow. There's different cars across the map that you can buy that are maybe a little bit of a discounted rate, but they're going to get you into a certain tier of racing or a certain style of racing, which is fun. So you see those around the map. You have also just cars you can buy once you start a Grand Prix of some kind. There's going to be a certain subset of cars you can use. You can use an existing car you have, or you can buy a brand new one. So I've generally lean on the cars that I do have, but you're going to get to times where you don't have a car, and then you're going to have to weigh, hey, do I want to spend all my money on getting a new car, or maybe I'll go do some races in some cars I have. So that's another little fun kind of strategy thing going on in Forza Horizon 6. And I haven't really had too many money problems yet in this game. I got down to kind of zero money after buying that Porsche I was talking about, but I'm already back up to over what I had. So I think just completing anything in the world is going to get your money back up. So it's not really seems too bad of a hassle of not having a car or having to do a race I don't want to do or whatever it may be. But I really can't think of back to a time where Forza has been doing bad at that. So I really think this is just an amazing video game. So Forza Horizon 6, passing all the tests from me, having so much fun with this, and we'll be talking about this, I guess, for clearly going up to the top of the game of the year for me so far. I played some Pragmata. I don't know. I don't know why I said Mata. I guess it's Mata. But I played some of that. I definitely haven't played enough to rank it. I played a good bit of Mario Tennis earlier in the year, but kind of disappointed with that. So this one really is racing. It has a huge head start and lead because it's extremely fun, and that's Forza Horizon 6. So that's been the main thing I've been playing in the past week. I've also been playing a little bit of Persona 3, which is something that I just always find myself going back to, even just I have different save files going on and just even switching between some of them. But I've actually been playing some of Persona 3 Portable in the last week, and it's been fun. I'm still really, really early on in that game, still under 3 hours maybe or something like that. And it's been fun noticing the differences between this and Reload, which is the more recent Persona 3 remake. But it still definitely has the same bare bones of it. And I don't know if the walking around the open world part in this game is necessarily better. So I don't know. I think I'm having just as much fun with it. The music is a little bit different, but it's different in its own way. I'm really, really accustomed and a huge fan of the Persona 3 Reload soundtrack, but you can definitely, it still has the heart and soul of those songs. It's pretty much the same, but just a little bit different in the older game, and I'm enjoying it just as well. So I've just been having fun trying to make some progress in this game, and I've almost in the last week, I was just thinking about Persona. I'm like, I'm just going to kind of give up and just try to keep chipping away at it as much as I want to. I own it on some different platforms. I have the Reload version and I have the portable version too. So it's like, I'm just going to keep chipping away at it wherever I want to play, and because I pretty much just have fun anytime I'm playing that game. So I'll probably keep playing that here and there, but I've definitely been going on and off on that one for the last couple of years now. I didn't really make, the only other game I've been playing a whole lot of, or thing I've been hooked on recently, has been Pokemon, but I haven't really made any significant progress to talk about since last week. I might have done a little bit of leveling. I'm still right at the end of Leaf Green. I just need to train a little bit more to take down my rival. I was able to take down the Elite Four, but unable to take down my rival, so I'm training up Lapras and Raichu is my main mission there. I've been playing some Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and kind of just doing some more leveling up there. I do think I'm at a moment in that game where I need to make some progress, but I think I've been kind of waiting on trying to complete Leaf Green. And then I've also been playing a little bit of Fire Red. I started a file on there just because I've been having so much fun with Leaf Green. I want to see what the Charizard side of the game is doing, and so I might have made a little bit of progress in there, but definitely nothing substantial in the last week. But I definitely still got Pokemon on the brain. So that's everything I've been playing in this past week. This has been the year of the front log on the Dep Lewis Show. I just got delivered the game I was most excited for on the front log, and I'm just really happy about it. So go Forza Horizon 6, go Playground Games, and go Xbox Game Studios Publishing. Putting out something really, really good there. It's available now on Xbox Series and PC, and coming to PlayStation 5 later in the year. But talking about my front log, that's my theme of the year. I'm just focusing on the front log. I only have 2 games on there currently that are, definite must-plays. There's definitely a tier below this. Maybe I should make the lower tier front log for next week, because I have more games on here previously, but I got down to brass tacks and put the 2 most important ones I feel on there. And one of them is, the first one is Marvel's Wolverine, which comes out September 15th from Insomniac Games, and then Grand Theft Auto 6 November 19th from Rockstar. And I'm going to talk a little bit about things related to both of those games in the midsection of this show, which is the news section. So a little bit of a teaser there. But that's everything I've been playing in the past week. Forza Horizon 6, Persona 3, more specifically, I guess, the portable version. And then we talked about it being the year of the front log on the Dep Lewis Show. So that's everything I got for you for my personal video gaming this week. But this is it's only the beginning. So you're going to hear some lovely break music from friend of the show and friend of real life Volness, and then come back for the midsection where I tell you about everything going on around the video game world that you need to know. Welcome back to the midsection of Dep Lewis Show, episode 181. This is the midsection where I tell you about everything going on around the video game world that you need to know. And the first thing I alluded to in the first section, but a PlayStation State of Play has been announced. This is a couple weeks away, so not the upcoming week, but the following week. So this is going to be taking place on June 2nd. It's a Tuesday, and it's taking place at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I would definitely be watching that and talking about it on the podcast that week. So just put that one on your radar. A PlayStation State of Play is coming on June 2nd. It's going to have more than 60 minutes of updates, announcements, and gameplay reveals from top studios around the world. To kick things off, we'll get a closer look at Marvel's Wolverine, which is the game I am very, very excited for. Insomniac Games will share more from its upcoming third-person action-adventure game showing off Logan's brutal and relentless combat along with some new details. This all-new take on the comic book legend launches on PS5 September 15th, like we mentioned in the first section. So just want to make you aware of that. Those are always really, really fun to watch and talk about. So coming up in a couple weeks. All right, so staying on the PlayStation side of things, they have made an update to something. And no, unlike Xbox, who lowered the price of Game Pass recently, PlayStation has decided to go the opposite way that mostly everyone would expect. And they are raising the price on PlayStation Plus. Womp, womp, womp. Not too substantial of a price increase, which is nice, but still, either way, any price increase these days is going to hurt people's pockets. So PlayStation Plus, starting May 20th, prices for new customers will increase in select regions. And it looks like to me like it's mostly all the regions. I don't know. It's at least in the United States. Can't act like that's all the regions, but I think it seems like this is taking place in all the big regions due to ongoing market conditions. So that is the famous line that every company likes to use when they have any type of change that is negative. They just say, hey, we got these market conditions going on out here. So you don't understand these market conditions. So they're raising the price. Prices will start at $10.99 USDs for 1 month subs and $27.99 for a 3 month sub of PlayStation Plus. So it's a $1 increase on the monthly sub and a $3 increase on the 3 month sub. So, nickel and diming us everywhere around the world all day, every day, and I don't think it's going to stop. But I don't know, maybe the next, I don't know, I'm about to say something crazy. Maybe the next consoles that come out won't make us pay for online service, but that's probably a wild thing to be hoping or wishing for. But it does seem a little bit outdated that you're having to pay for these subscriptions to play online, and they try to give you the fluff, of some free games or things like that. But, I think a lot of people would be out on it if they didn't have to pay for the online connectivity, if they like playing multiplayer games. So PlayStation Plus has a price increase. So boo to that. All right, a little bit of, I don't know how true this is or how official or rumor mill kind of this is, but it seems like there could be something substantial here. And this is in regards to PlayStation exclusives. So it seems like, even with some of the reporting on this, it says PlayStation exclusives are not coming to PC anymore. But I even wrote down it seems like it's more of a case-by-case basis. So it seems like Sony has scrapped plans to launch Ghost of Yotei on PC and a few other titles, but online games are going to still come multi-platform. So it does seem like a little bit of change in strategy from Sony in general, but it's something that I think we just need to monitor more so than taking at face value. But, I don't know. I didn't realize that they canceled maybe I did realize but forgot that they canceled Ghost of Yotei on PC, and that's very disheartening because that is an extremely cool game. But that is just something that I was seeing out there in the past week. So it looks like PlayStation exclusives are going to be a little more exclusive. All right, so moving on to another topic. That's something that happened in the past week. Destiny 2 is getting an update, and this one is the final update. So from Bungie, they're saying every end is a new beginning. And this is a pretty wild one here. This game's been around for a long time. It released in Destiny 1 was 2014, Destiny 2 was 2017, and this was Bungie, after Halo. So they had Halo in 2001, Halo 2 2004, Halo 3 2007, Halo 3 ODST 2009, Halo Reach 2010. I mean, talk about a crazy run of video games. And then to take all of that success and change it up into Destiny and have a huge success with Destiny as well in 2014, just really, really amazing. So the news here, if you can't really guess that, Destiny 2 is getting its final update. So like they said, for every end is a new beginning. And here's some quotes from Bungie talking about this change and what's going on. So there's a few different quotes here, but definitely worthy of reading because of the long history with Destiny. So for almost 12 years, this is Bungie's quote: "We have had the joy and honor to explore the Destiny universe with you all." And I also think this is a good example of doing this. That's just another thing. I think this one's actually a decent example of going out on their own terms in a certain way here, and I think that's pretty cool. So through all the ups and downs, surprises and triumphs, building Destiny alongside our players has been a monumental privilege. While our love for Destiny 2 has not changed, it has become clear that the final shape we have reached, the final shape, I guess, is some DLC. We have reached the time for our shared worlds and Destiny to live beyond Destiny 2. As our focus turns towards a new beginning for Bungie, we will begin work incubating our next games to that end as of June 9th, 2026. So just a couple weeks away. We will release the final live service update for Destiny 2 to begin that new journey as a studio. And though active development may be concluding, so that's really the news here, that active development is concluding on Destiny 2, we will ensure that Destiny 2 remains playable just as original Destiny is today. Many changes in this final update will aim to ensure that Destiny 2 is a welcoming place for players to return to. We're proud of Destiny 2, the places it took us, and the legacy it has created. Because of you all, our universe is vast, built on years of shared stories, adventures, and victories. From the Cosmodrome to the Pale Heart to the Lawless Frontier, we have forged lifelong memories and friendships with you all. We're incredibly grateful to everyone who made the journey with us from the deepest parts of our hearts. Thank you, and we'll see you in the stars. So, I mean, pretty nice there from the Bungie devs on the, sunsetting a little bit of the updates to Destiny 2. And I don't know why it was, I had a lot of great times playing Destiny. It's been a while since I've played it. But I definitely, spent many, many hours playing those games. And I was just thinking how it was impressive that they really delivered after, developing on Halo all those years, and to turn it into something else that was, I don't think anything to me ever is going to be as iconic as Halo, but they really, got really damn close there. Or, I guess it's more of an opinion thing, but, they really knocked it out of the park with Destiny. So congrats to all those people that worked on that game. And that's really just what I want to say there about Destiny. So they do have Marathon out now. When I was kind of going through the history of Bungie, I'm like, man, I really loved a lot of Bungie games over the history of my life. And, they released Marathon last year. I never gave it a chance, but I think I might try it out at some point during this year. It's their new online shooter that came out and definitely looks really cool. I don't know, it's really tough to release one of those in these times, but I should at least try it at some point and see what I think about it, because you never know. You never know when you can get hooked on something video game wise, or when something pops up or whatever it may be. So just want to make sure you're aware of that. Marathon is available right now, and I guess they have some additional resources to put over there if they would like to. So congrats to Destiny 2, and every end is a new beginning. All right, so continuing on with the video game news I want to tell you about. This one I've definitely talked about in the last few weeks, but I just want to make you aware that Yoshi and the Mysterious Book is available right now. It came out May 21st. It's available on Switch too, so it's an exclusive. It's $59.99 US digital and $69.99 US physical. So the first game from Nintendo that is differentiating between the digital and physical price. And in this game, you play as Yoshi and help a mysterious book named Mr. E, remember the creatures living within his pages. Open them up, explore colorful habitats, and experiment with each creature to learn all kinds of surprising facts across every page. So I think this one looks like if you have a younger gamer that you're wanting to buy a game for or whatever it may be, this one looks like it could be a perfect game for that. And then it does look like a game for, even older people. So I don't think the challenge is here in terms of platforming. I don't think that's the main focus of this game. I really think it's more puzzly than anything. I don't think the puzzles are anything too in-depth, but it does have some good exploratory stuff in here from what I can tell, and some different mechanics. It seems like it's switching things up from time to time, but it seems more of like a low-stakes game that is a little bit more of like a, push and pull and just kind of play with the environment more than anything, and different like themes going on. So the game definitely looks beautiful. If you look at this game, I think you'll be impressed with how it looks, and the storybook feel and look to it too, I think is a perfect mashup. So this one almost has me, tempted to want to try it, but I'm not like the biggest puzzle game person. I'm not maybe the best at exploratory stuff either. And I would like a Yoshi game with a little bit more hard platforming, because I'm a pretty big fan of platformers and I've played a lot of them. So that was something that I would definitely look for in one of these games. But it doesn't seem like that's what it is, but it seems like what it's doing is doing it well. So if you are interested in that, or maybe like a slower pace, more puzzly, exploratory, low stakes game from Nintendo, so it's going to have, definitely a high quality and polish to it. Yoshi and the Mysterious Book is available right now. And that's everything I've taken from watching people play it and what they've talked about it, and kind of got to a point where maybe I would try it out in the future, but it's not just like a day one thing that I'm dying to play. All right, something that has definitely been piquing my interest a little bit more as time goes. This game is coming out in the upcoming week, so that game is 007 First Light. I've talked about this in the last few weeks. This one's just kind of a quick reminder that it's actually coming out in the upcoming week. I might talk about it again next week of what I hear about it, but 007 First Light is coming out Wednesday in this upcoming week, May 27th, for PlayStation 5, Xbox Series, and Steam. The Switch 2 is a later date. That one's been delayed, so they can work on optimizing that port. So I will keep you updated on when that's coming out, and I might be interested in a Switch 2 version. But 007 First Light is $69.99 US. Earn the number 007. First Light is a thrilling espionage action-adventure game from IO Interactive, so the developers of Hitman follow James Bond as a young, resourceful, and sometimes reckless recruit in MI6's training program, and discover an origin story of the world's most famous spy. So I would say, hey, I don't really have an affinity for James Bond necessarily, but I think that's more so the movies. But I also have seen some James Bond movies that I've liked over time, and in the past week I was reminded, thanks to the Giant Bomb guys, I guess it was Dan and Mike Minotti were mainly. No, it was Dan and his wife, Bonk, where he brought up to his wife that, I don't know why they were putting these two games against each other, but he was saying that GoldenEye is better than Half-Life. And so his wife told him he was crazy. He posted that on Blue Sky, and then people were going back and forth about it. And then later in the week, or a day later, Mike Minotti was streaming some GoldenEye. Dan was watching the stream. So just been some good content around GoldenEye in the past week. And that just brought me back to, like, damn, I really do love GoldenEye. Like, that was one of my favorite games from growing up. Played a ton of it. Pretty much everyone who had an N64 had this game, or all the people I knew had it. So it was one of those things of, playing multiplayer matches, playing through the campaign, all that kind of stuff, and just of how great a game that is. So I think, for a James Bond game in current times to pique my interest, I think, I'm thinking about a little bit of a nostalgia blast there with GoldenEye, but I think the Hitman developers, IO Interactive, are the complete most perfect people to ever make a James Bond game, because of their ability to create, really, really fun environments with different tools and gadgets and using items around the world, and the way they interact with the world, and the amount of things the AI is doing, and like the schedules the people are on and the conversations they're having. It all feels really, really lively. And I think, having the spy scenario of James Bond in there could be a really cool thing. So this one definitely has a little bit of hype building in my mind, and I think everything I've heard from it seems extremely positive. So I'll be excited to see some people playing this, and I'll definitely be keeping a lookout for 007 First Light, which comes out in the upcoming week. All right, let's see here. Yeah, still got a good bit more stuff to tell you about from the past week. This next one, I don't know if this news is new, but I just want to remind you about this, because I think this one is exciting, and I think some good hype is building around this game. And there's a demo available now, so I don't know if that's completely new news, but I want to remind you that a demo is available and progress carries over to the full game, and the game is The Adventures of Elliot, the Millennium Tales. So this one is a brand new action RPG from the creators of Octopath Traveler and Bravely Default. The Adventures of Elliot, the Millennium Tales combines the stunning HD 2D visuals, which really is stunning, and exciting action-adventure gameplay for the first time. It's developed by Square Enix, published by Square Enix, and Clay Tech Works is also a developer on this game. The Adventures of Elliot, the Millennium Tales It's still about a month out, I guess a little bit less than a month. So that's kind of why I just want to make sure you're completely aware of this. It's going to release on June 18th. It's $59.99 US dollars. It's coming out for PlayStation 5, Xbox Series, Switch 2 only, so no Switch original, and Steam. And I think the demo for this has actually been out for a few weeks, is kind of what I think I've landed on. And I saw a quote this week from the development team, and they say, from the development team's perspective, we received a great deal of positive feedback from players both in Japan and overseas. We feel there is a strong demand for many of the core game systems and that players are largely satisfied with those elements. So I thought that was a pretty cool statement from them, and it makes them sound very, very confident about this. And I think everything they've shown from this game is reason to be confident. And then, a quote like that's pretty funny. They say, we feel there's strong demand. What are the people saying about your game? He's saying they're demanding the hell out of this game. They're loving this. So I think they have a pedigree and a history of putting out quality games. That's probably why they're talking about this. And, they're bringing along a new IP here. So this is one that I definitely probably made fun of the name when this one was announced, I guess, last year. But even looking at it now, it's kind of looking like its own thing. I think that's pretty cool. And The Adventures of Elliot, the Millennium Tales is releasing on June 18th, and a demo is available now. All right, so what else do I got for you? Sega was teasing something on their social media for this game. So the game was Crazy Taxi, and I guess this was on, Sega's the publisher of this game, but Crazy Taxi's social media had a post last week. This is the first time in 7 years, I believe, was the case. And they're just really teasing something. So maybe an upcoming game reveal is going to be taking place soon for Crazy Taxi. The original Crazy Taxi was $19.99 for Dreamcast, and then it got ported over to PS2 and GameCube shortly after. So I don't know if I ever played Crazy Taxi. Maybe just a little bit. Maybe I rented it once. And I can't believe Twisted Metal's the other one. I think maybe I've just played it once at a friend's house or something like that. But those are both franchises that kind of live in the same part of my brain. I guess it's around from the same time. But it seems like Crazy Taxi might be coming back. I do like driving games and racing games. I'm finding out more and more as I get older. And, maybe I could be up for that. But Crazy Taxi teasing something. So, I'm over here teasing you guys with that information as well. All right, Grand Theft Auto 6. That's something I mentioned that's on my front log. It's going to release on November 19th for PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series. And it's something that I've gone back and forth on if I think they're really going to hit this date. This game's been delayed, I think, a couple times now. But there was a Take-Two had I guess they're the publisher, had a 2026 financial results. And the CEO, Strauss Zelnick, said in there, I've been saying for some time that the release date is November 19th. We obviously reiterated that today, so we feel really good about it. And that's another one. I appreciate the confident statement there. You could believe that somebody could be lying about this or something could change, but taking that at face value, I think it's a good thing, and I think it's a strong way to comment on the game and really put some what's the word? I don't know. Put some I guess confidence is the word. Put some confidence in the market. That's probably what they're trying to do for, investors and things like that out there. So Take-Two CEO feeling very confident about the release of Grand Theft Auto 6 on November 19th. And just a quick back of the box talk on GTA 6. It's going back to Vice City, USA. Jason and Lucia. Might be Lucia. Might be Lucia. I can't remember at this point, but it's always been known that the deck is stacked against them. But when an easy score goes wrong, they find themselves on the darkest side of the sunniest place in America, in the middle of a criminal conspiracy stretching across the state of Leonida, forced to rely on each other more than ever if they want to make it out alive. So this game has been in development for a very, very long time. It's been since 2013 when Grand Theft Auto 5 released. So, it's safe to say that a lot of people are waiting on this game, including myself. So just looking like the release date actually is going to happen for GTA 6. All right, a couple more things to tell you about this next one, which I guess it is about time that we find out something about the next Call of Duty, since it's already the end of May, and it seems like Call of Duty likes to release a game yearly. So the news here is Call of Duty. Infinity Ward officially confirms this year's new Call of Duty is a Modern Warfare title. We're making the definitive Modern Warfare is what they said. So that's a really tall task there. I don't know, maybe they should have said that. But their other statement says, I got some critiques about their statement here. So we're going to read their corporate statement here about what's going on with Call of Duty and Infinity Ward. So they say, we are Infinity Ward. We build visceral, immersive combat experiences that hit different. As a new chapter begins for this studio, we're focused on what defines us: passion, precision, obsession, and an unrelenting drive to make the best entertainment in the industry. Our next game is a result of that mindset: determined, bold, relentless, built by a team pushing every detail, every system, every moment to its limit. On behalf of everyone at IW, we're proud of what we've been building and excited to finally start sharing it with you. Mark and Jack, the studio heads at IW. So my only critiques there were a lot of things in there just sound very cliche. And I was thinking that, hey, you could be selling like chapstick or something, and they could be telling you that, their mindset was determined and bold and relentless on building this product. It's like you hear this about almost everything that's being sold these days, that, where I think even myself, people are caring less and less about, the things they're telling you, and just kind of want to see the result of these things. And I think that's kind of just the discrepancy there between this statement and what people are feeling. And I think it's also funny, you can't really give yourself a nickname, and that's coming from someone doing the Dep Lewis Show. But, Dep Lewis was a nickname that people started calling me. So it's like, it's different than, maybe Infinity Ward calling themselves IW. It's like, and that's just, why you got to be trying to do that? And they definitely said that 2 times in there in that quote. And I don't know if I've never heard anyone call them IW. And I think it's just a little bit silly trying to do that. And then they say hit different in there too. So that's even trying to get a little bit of slang going, which I don't know if you can fault them for that, but I just think kind of a silly quote there from them. And then also they're saying they're making the definitive Modern Warfare. It's like, they've already done that. They've gone back to the Modern Warfare multiple times. They've even remastered the previous ones. I think they just need to say, maybe they should just say, hey, it's going to be more in the modern style, but, we're trying to make something new. I think Call of Duty definitely needs to be in the more like, not want to say like, I guess it's like the put up or shut up kind of like show and prove kind of mode. Like they need to deliver something back to the quality of what they were doing before. And we can't just keep living off nostalgia there. I think people do like the Modern Warfare side of stuff the best, or like the most out of this game. So I think that's probably, if you had to choose one direction to go with it, you'd want to do that. But I don't know. They've had the weird thing of like, do they focus on the campaign? Is the campaign even worth playing? Do they even make a campaign? It's like, maybe Call of Duty should just go to a model like Fortnite, where it has updates every year whenever they feel like they want to put a new season in it. If they want to release a campaign, maybe sell that on the side or something like that. But I think they definitely have stuff to figure out. And I think coming out with such like a confident kind of cliche corporate quote is probably not a good direction or not a good, it could be a difference in, what's actually going down on the ground. But I think it's kind of like too flowery of a quote for this scenario. And that's just my critique on, a corporate quote, which I do enjoy reading a corporate quote from time to time. But that's Call of Duty's take. Infinity Ward is making the new Call of Duty this year. And, mostly, I think that's just good information to know. And that's really what I was taking from this. Hey, new Call of Duty is going to be Modern Warfare, and Infinity Ward's making it. Those are all trigger words for me that, signal, hey, there's a chance at a good video game there. So I don't think they really need to say too much more besides delivering a great video game. And they really need to have some type of a blend of, maybe having the old maps from some of the old games and new ones, and getting back to a little bit of the basic stuff. So I think a lot of people are kind of taken off by some of like the battle pass stuff they put in the game. I think people like trying to prestige in that game. I think they like playing with their friends. I think they like snappy menus. I think they like clean menus. I think they like modern guns. I think they like straightforward, maybe not gimmicky gameplay. I think they possibly like some cool movement if it's possible in there. But, I think that's the things that people like about Call of Duty. And I think that's me speaking specifically for myself. But I think there are a lot of Call of Duty fans like me that have liked it a lot over the years, but haven't played it in a long time. But I definitely could see myself getting back into it at some point. But I think it's going to take some work on Call of Duty and Infinity Ward to make that happen. All right, just 2 more quick things to tell you about that really are pretty quick. But Fable is an upcoming video game with a release date of autumn 2026. It's developed by Playground Games, so shout out to them. Forza Horizon 6 as well. And it's published by Xbox Game Studios. So the news here with Fable is just that the PS5 version seems to still be on the schedule. So, there's been some talk even on the Microsoft side, and we've talked about that in the last few weeks, of Microsoft possibly wanting to keep some of their exclusives, of not putting them on PlayStation 5. We talked about earlier in the show that PlayStation might be changing its strategies on putting its exclusive on PC. And it seems like this is just more of a signal that, hey, don't worry about Fable. Fable social media says Fable will be available at launch on Xbox Series, Steam, and PlayStation 5. So in Fable, this is another game that this one has been a long time coming. I think there's a lot of room for error on releasing this game, and I'm going to be surprised if it is good, but that's just me being pessimistic as someone who's a fan of the old Fable games. But that's been it's been 20 years or something like that. So become the hero you want to be in an immersive open world action RPG where each choice shapes your journey. Reputation is everything, and fairy tale endings are never guaranteed. So I think they nailed it there with that quote, because I think that's exactly what you want from Fable. I think you want an RPG where each choice shapes your journey. I think that's some of the coolest stuff about Fable. The reputation is everything. That they have some of the stuff in there where you can get fat. You can get work. You can work out. You can your looks can change depending on if you're evil or good out there, kind of things. There's different things going on. People will react to you in different ways, and that was a really cool novel and I guess kind of like creative thing from back in the day. And other games have done this. Fallout 3 I think was a good example of doing some of that stuff. Mass Effect has some good choice stuff in there, but I think people think, hey, it's been so long. If some game developed, Fable's not like a giant, huge map, but it had a lot of cool interactive stuff going on within those maps. And I think that should hopefully be the focus here. And it seems like from that quote, that's what it's going to be. So Fable coming later this year, definitely one I could see getting delayed. So maybe don't hold your breath on that, but just want to keep you aware that Fable looks like it's still going to be coming to PS5. All right, the last bit of news I want to tell you about is one I almost did not include because it's not a video game, but Nintendo has announced something. It's called Pictonico, and this is an app you can get on your phone, so it'll be available to download on mobile devices starting on May 28th. So that's the upcoming week. It is turn your photos into silly minigames. So this seems like it could definitely be skewed at younger people or whatever, but I just want to make you aware that, Nintendo definitely is releasing quality stuff, so I'm sure there's some fun to be had in here. I won't be tempted really to try this myself, but Pictonico, which I do think is kind of a fun name to say. It's like Elf saying Francisco. You can say Pictonico. But it's going to be 80 mini games total, lots of ways to play, and free to start, it says. So just a little bit of an update on Pictonico, which has been announced by Nintendo, which is an app on your phone. All right, that's everything I got for you for this week for video game news and information that I want to tell you about. We talked about a lot of things. We talked about the upcoming PlayStation State of Play. We talked about the PlayStation Plus price increase. We talked about the change in PlayStation exclusive strategy. We talked about Destiny 2, Yoshi and the Mysterious Book, 007 First Light, The Adventures of Elliot, The Millennium Tales, Crazy Taxi, GTA 6, Call of Duty, Fable, and Pictonico. So that's everything I got for you video game-wise this week. But there's still one final section of the show left to go. It's normally pretty short and sweet, and that'll probably be the case today. So please come back after this music. Welcome back to the final section of Dep Lewis Show, episode 181. This is the Miscellaneous Talk section where I can talk about anything I want to outside of the video game world. So as always, I want to get into the worldwide world of sports and tell you what's going on with all my favorite teams. And there's only one of my current favorite teams playing right now, so not a whole lot to talk about, but they are my favorite team. But starting with the NFL, the Carolina Panthers, it's just the offseason for them, so nothing to report there. The first preseason game, which is the Hall of Fame game, is going to be on August 6th versus the Cardinals. So definitely some months away from some substantial NFL news, but excited for it either way. And then the NBA is getting close to the finals for the teams still participating, but I'm a halfway fan of the Hornets, who are in the offseason right now. And the only thing to look forward to is the Hornets right now is the NBA draft on June 23rd. They have the 14th and the 18th pick, so I just wanted to remind you of that. And then my favorite team in the NBA, the Atlanta Hawks, are in the offseason as well, and they're looking forward to the draft with the 8th and the 23rd pick. So, under a month away, It's just a day under a month away from the NBA draft, so that's pretty exciting. And some of the playoff games have been pretty good. So Wemby's been out there doing some crazy stuff. Same what the Knicks are doing over there, and there's been some good basketball going on at least. And the Thunder, powerhouse as always. But my favorite team in the universe, the Atlanta Braves, are the only current team I have that's playing right now, and they've been doing extremely well, which has been fun. Since last Sunday, they played Boston last Sunday. It was Grant Holmes on the mound. The Braves won 8-1, so a good way to end the week last week. And then in this past week, since I haven't talked to you, they played Miami in Miami to start the week. So the Braves lost 0-12 on Monday, which was just extremely wild. It was a beatdown. It was over by the 6th inning or something like that. It was one that I turned off. It was just almost comically bad. But then the Braves got their act back in order. Tuesday at Miami, the Braves won 8-4. Wednesday at Miami, the Braves won 9-1. So almost, got back, almost tied up with the run, same run total there, it looks like. And then Thursday, the Braves definitely stepped on that and won 9-3. So those three games later in the week were definitely how you would expect the game between the Braves and the Marlins to go right now. But hey, the Marlins took that first one. And then to end the week, the Braves have been playing the Nationals. So it's been a whole week of division games, which is good, and especially because the Braves have been doing a lot of winning. Friday versus the Nationals, the Braves won 5-4, and it was in 11 innings. It was a pretty exciting end there, and fun to see the Braves win a scrappy one. Saturday versus the Nats, last night the Braves lost 0-2. They couldn't get any offense going, but nothing too bad. You're gonna get got from time to time out here in the major leagues, and the Braves have been not getting got very many times. And then the Braves are going to play today against the Nationals in Atlanta in just about an hour. So from when I'm recording this podcast in real time, so I'm going to put this podcast out. And then watch the Braves is my plan over here. So that is everything I got going on for the Braves. Ronald Acuna is back. He tried to get an injury on his thumb, but he was back playing, so that's nice to see. I would love for Ronald to be healthy for the rest of the season. Love to get Drake Baldwin back sometime soon. Been nice to see Spencer Strider back out there. And, just go Braves. I've been having so much fun watching you. And next week, the Braves are actually off tomorrow. So no game on Monday. They're going to be at Boston for 3 games and then at the Cincinnati Reds for 3 games. So a week of a road swing for the Braves. And I think those should be fun matchups to watch. I don't mind watching either one of those teams. So that'll be next week for the Braves. So go Braves. So that is really everything I got for you for this final section of the show this week. We just covered what my favorite teams were doing. So we talked about the Carolina Panthers, the Charlotte Hornets, the Atlanta Hawks, and the Braves. And just want to say go Braves today. Hopefully you can close this week out with a win. And then that's going to close out the Miscellaneous Talk section. And that's going to close out the entire show. So I'd like to reiterate some promotional talk from the beginning. Please follow Dep Lewis Show everywhere. Full episodes of Dep Lewis Show available anywhere you can find a podcast. So find the best place to subscribe and listen weekly. Places like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, YouTube, Amazon Music, and more. YouTube is also a great place to watch me play some games live or check out the videos later. If you would like to support the show even further than just listening, patreon.com/Dep Lewis Show is available if you'd like to subscribe monthly. Also, Venmo at Dep Lewis Show is available any day, anytime, for any amount if you would like to support the show. I thank you so much for listening. I really, really appreciate it. I'm going to be playing a lot of Forza Horizon 6 in the upcoming week. Maybe getting back on the Pokemon train, of making some progress there. It's Memorial Day weekend in the United States, so that's pretty much the official kickoff of summer. It's been pretty rainy where I live in North Carolina, but I do have the day off tomorrow, so that's very nice, giving me some time to play some games or relax or do whatever I want to do. And hopefully you are having a good weekend as well out there if you are doing something for Memorial Day. And if you're just doing something out there on a random time, I hope you're having fun. And if you're not doing anything, I hope you're having fun too. Sometimes it's fun to do nothing, and I oftentimes think it's fun to do nothing. And video games are pretty good for that. So just have a good one out there in the world. If things are not going your way, I hope that changes. If things are going your way, I hope that continues. And I truly appreciate you listening, and I hope you come back for another episode next week, because I will be excited to tell you what's going on with the video games. And just come on back. I'll talk to you next week. Goodbye.